Welcome to Fear Babes Podcast, a paranormal podcast founded and hosted by Fear fan members.
All thoughts and opinions are strictly our own, and we are not affiliated with any shows in any way.
My name is Burgundy.
My name is Madeline.
And we are
the Fear Babes.
Welcome back to Fear Babes Podcast. Side effects may include laughing, crying until you pee yourself, feeling sudden bursts of joy. My brain, I just lost it all, man.
I thought you were going to say.
I had a whole thing and it all just left my brain. What else? Feeling related to, feeling listened to. Possible tears of joy. Again, please consult your local Fear Babe if you experience any of these side effects.
What the fuck? Okay, honestly, love that. Love that intro.
Until my brain fucking died. It was like, you're dumb.
Story of my life, dude. Every time that we record, like, in the morning, it's like our brains just kind of short out and there's just like smoke and fumes. I can hear, it sounds like a tea kettle going off, like like I can hear it all the way over here in North Carolina from Wyoming.
That's so funny.
It's wild.
Did you ever watch that video or that movie as a kid? It might have even been called Short Circuit. With the like little robot guy. Yeah, it was Short Circuit. Have you ever seen that? I'm gonna have to watch that again.
I don't think so, but I don't know. I watched a lot of shit as a kid, and then like as an adult, I'll see it and I'll be like, "Oh my god, I remember that." So who knows?
Yeah. When we said Short Circuit, it was like core memory unlocked. He looked like a live action Wall-E, if I'm honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. The movie's from 1986, though. I just looked it up.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember Timmy the Tooth?
Vaguely
Dude,
familiar.
That shit scared the fuck out of me.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure they were playing that at my dentist's office when I was a kid.
It wouldn't surprise me. Did you ever watch Fraggle Rock?
Okay. Short Circuit. No. That doesn't ring a bell. Whatever you just said also does not ring a bell.
Whatever you just said, Fraggle Rock. My mom got me into Fraggle Rock. Yeah.
I am going to be completely honest with you, like, not to be like that person, but I grew up watching so for those of you who don't know, I know I've mentioned my great grandma on the podcast before, but I grew up watching like I Love Lucy, like old movies, Gone with the Wind, like shit like that. Mm-hmm. So like when I think about movies, not that I wasn't like cultured, like my mom definitely like made me watch some crazy shit, like Roly Poly Oly, loved it.
Yes.
Land Before Time,
yes.
Obsessed. I was obsessed with dinosaurs as a kid, which we both were, which is
still
weird.
Obsessed with dinosaurs, bro.
They're so fascinating, dude. Like, how can you not be obsessed with dinosaurs? I don't get it.
Honestly.
Like, and I've also, in true paranormal podcast fashion, I've had like dreams that seem as though they are like related to a past life where I was a paleontologist. So it would make a lot of sense that baby Mads, like toddler Mads, was obsessed with dinosaurs, because where does that fascination come from? Yeah. Like, where does any of our fascinations come from when
like
you're
the ones
a kid?
That are like part of your core in a sense?
Yeah. Like ones that like you develop a true obsession with it. Like I get that some kids like in modern day, like they're obsessed with like Paw Patrol and shit, but like that's not necessarily like a lore. But
right.
After like in my adulthood, I had that past life, seemingly, should I say, a past life dream of being a paleontologist. It's changed my perspective as a whole.
Interesting. You know,
like 1920s paleontologist. It was so weird. You
know how I said like what like I when we, okay, short circuiting again. Here we go. Frick. Do you remember it was the past lives episode that we did? And I was like, boy, what if I was a velociraptor in a past life? What if you were the paleontologist that discovered my velociraptor body? Well, bones.
Never know. I told you about that one dream too, where I was in ancient Egypt And like in the dream, I had discovered a tomb, and which I still to this day was a historian, or am a historian. Jesus, words. See, there we go.
Short circuiting. That's the whole thing.
And ancient Egypt has always been a fascination of mine, even as a kid. Which again, where do these fascinations come from? Like, where does this obsession come from? Like, there has to be some sort of underlying thing, right? At least that's what I think. After I found the tomb and like in the area where the sarcophagus is, I had like this dream within a dream. It was like a regression of some sort within the dream, which is the weirdest concept of me being the pharaoh that was buried in the sarcophagus. So, not sure. Not sure. But you never know, dude. Past lives are so interesting. I really hope one day we can do another episode, because I feel like our past life episode, we were both hella short-circuiting.
Yeah. I was just about to say, we might have to do like past lives part 2 or whatever, and just talk about those like innate like passions that you just kind of, that are just part of your being type of thing.
Yeah.
Because
like there's so many. It's a whole lore. It's a lore of myself.
Yeah.
It's a lore of myself. I would love to do that sometime.
Yeah, we gotta write that down somewhere so we don't forget.
Comment below if you would like to see us do another past life episode where we're not short-circuiting like dipshits.
And we probably will be, but it's fine. It happens.
True Fear Waves fashion.
Wouldn't be an episode without it, to be honest.
Honestly, facts.
It's like, y'all think we're doing this on purpose, but we not, so...
Yeah. A lot of it comes with, like, trying to be sure that you don't say anything to step on toes, though.
Yeah, it's 2024. People are sensitive, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing, too, is I was telling Aubrey, actually, yesterday, because we do a specific meeting every Friday, a handful of us, and it was always at the same time. And as you know, like, I think that as I get older, I discover that I need structure and routine. And we moved it up an hour, and I didn't know, and I was not prepared. So, like, I have all the topics I need to talk about in my head, right? I'm like, A, B, C, and D. I gotta talk about this. But when I go to say words, A, C, and D try to come out at the same time. So then my brain and my mouth disconnect, and I'm like, what?
Same.
And I'm like, I promise I'm smart and I know what I'm supposed to say, but this is not working, okay?
I felt that 100%. Like, I don't know what it is, but like sometimes I just feel like I saw a tweet, okay, actually the other day that was in regards to that. And they said something like, I promise I'm an intelligent human being. My words just do not form properly. And it's so true. Like, I feel as though, like, am I the smartest cookie in the world? No. But I am saying that I am an intelligent human being. Like, I just feel it just doesn't come out that way.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, it's that thing where your brain is going faster than your mouth can. So.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Your mouth, your like words when you're speaking, you're trying to keep up with your thoughts, but it just doesn't work.
You're
like, damn it.
It just
unless you're Eminem and have like supersonic speech abilities.
Yeah, that's wild. I would love to see like how his brain like functions, like under an MRI kind of thing. I would love to see like how his brain works for his words to just come out so fast and they make sense.
Right. But some people can't like understand that. Like, I've been known to talk too fast. In fact, I get told I talk too fast a lot, actually. But
yeah, me too. Sometimes
people are like, "What did you just say? You were talking too fast." And I'm like, "Oh, was I? My bad."
My bad.
Whoopsies.
Or in my case, if I'm around like a bunch of like people from the South and we're all talking in our little accents, then some people can't understand me, which is understandable.
Like that time I was trying to keep up with what you and Sierra were saying on your call when you were here. I was like, I followed you for half of it. I don't know what the rest was.
To be a fly on the wall, like, her cousins are down like in town right now,
Uh-huh.
and they're all from obviously the Appalachian Mountains, and it's so fun hearing all the accents. One of them has a kid, and she is so freaking cute with her little country accent, like a little tiny boy. Just like speaking that way. I don't know. I can't wait for
cute.
Sierra to pop her baby out. It's any day now.
I know.
By
I was
the
gonna
way,
say any day now, huh? So back to the brain short circuiting thing and stuff. I was gonna you know already, but for the listeners' purposes, I took an autism test
oh yeah.
online. It's supposed to be a fairly credible one, but you know how those things are. It was not diagnosed by a professional or anything, okay? But I scored a 157. It's funny though, because I was telling all my coworkers, and they're like, "Send it to me. I want to know mine." And I'm like, "Okay." And so we've all been comparing our tisms this week. So on the scores interpretation list, 130 says the mean score of autistic people, strong evidence for autism, and 160 says very strong evidence for autism. So I'm at 157. So this has been my personality all week, and I'm gonna run it for about 3 more business days, and then I'll move on. I'm like,
honestly,
I have the tisms, okay?
I could see it. And everybody has said, like, so Sierra took that same exact test, and like it spiraled all of us to take the test. This was like a couple months ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm genuinely curious if because I do have what I had assumed was autistic traits. Really, I think it's just fucking anxiety, but whatever.
Could be ADHD too.
I'm starting to wonder if maybe I do, even though I also don't know if that's the case, because once I do something, I'm incredibly focused, but I know that it can surface in other ways as well. So I'm not sure. However, when I took the autism test, I scored really low. I scored like a 50. And I was like, oh, thank God. At least that's one less thing that's wrong with me. Melissa had said that, something about routines. I'm very, very strict about routines. Like, I have a certain way that I do things every morning, in that order, every single day. And if it's like interrupted in any way, I tweak.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but more of like, is this going to ruin my day? Like, and that's not the case. It's just, I don't know. I think it's an anxiety quirk.
Could be.
So I don't have the tisms, but Bergie does apparently.
I do apparently. It makes certain things make sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I get it. It's fine. But yeah, and then all my coworkers are like taking it, and like one of them, she got like 7 points less than me, and I was like, oh, we're twins. So I've been using it, like jokingly, have been using it all week. It's been a thing for our team where like some people are like, well, this, and this, and I'm like, I have the tisms, okay? It's a condition. Leave me alone.
Listen, twisms.
Twisms.
That's so funny, twisms.
I'm so telling Robin. Oh my God. The twisms! We're the twisms.
I cracked myself up.
The Twism sisters.
Oh
my God, the Twizzlers. I'm just kidding.
That's so cute. The Twizzlers.
The Twizzlers. All right.
Well,
it's been like 15 minutes. Should we just dive into this shit now?
I was about to say, I guess we should get into the reason why we're here, and that's Project Fear, homie dogs.
Yeah. So as you know, occasionally we like to let Project Fear know that we still love them. So I guess that's what we have to do today.
Right.
Cool.
Love is a very strong word.
You hear that, Tanner? We no longer HATEU.
No, I still hate Tanner. That's not a question.
I was trying to reel him in, Mads.
Reel him in?
Reel him in, get him thinking that, there's no issue, and then BAM! Still an issue.
Ah, yes.
Trying to pull an old switcherooski here.
I see. Yes. So it's so hard to say the word love to these people. Well, it's up to Chelsea, Connor, and Riley. You guys,
it's so half. Half
Yeah.
of them it's solid. The other half,
The other half can suck my dick.
oh, when and where? What? Do I know you?
Well, you can always suck my dick.
Hail you, brother.
But they can suck my dick in like the way where I'm like, fuck you, you know?
Well, still the same vibe. No, I'm just kidding.
I love how we short circuited on that one. So this is a non-traditional episode. We are actually covering Project Fear's little mini series, both episodes. There was just two where they were joined by fans who contributed to the Kickstarter back in 2023. And honestly, these episodes were super interesting. It was so different. I loved the different aspects of it. I will say we are starting with Fairfield Infirmary, where shit happens, and Shit happens. What's new? This is the place of which the iconic "Dude, it opened" happened in Destination Fear.
I'm gonna be real with you. That's like the only thing I could think about the entire time I was watching it.
Same.
Kind of overrode what was going on for me. I was like, I really need to focus, but this is just, where Dude It Open happened, so.
Right. That's all I could think about, especially when they were like at the door and they were like messing with it. I was like, dude, it opened. So I'm like, this is wild. But yeah, so we're starting at Fairfield Infirmary, and the fan that joined the crew at Fairfield was Rick. And I'm
Big Rick energy.
Big Rick energy. So I'm just going to take a second to just say, Rick, I don't know if you're listening to this. Let me just say, dude, you were a total fucking natural.
Yeah, for sure.
Like every time, like on his solo, he took that shit like a champ.
Oh, for sure. I know.
I can't say
talk more about that later on. You keep finishing your thought.
I can't say I would have been that way, but who knows?
Exactly.
You never know.
Shout out Rick, because also dude was super respectful, which is cool.
He was.
I love that. But like I said, I have more to touch on that in honorable mention, so we'll get there later.
Oh, sick!
I just winked at you. I don't know if you. I'm like, you can't see me, so I guess I don't know why I did that, but
I totally felt that.
Okay, good.
I totally felt that.
Just for shiz and gigs.
Just for shits and giggles.
Okay, Matt. So you start. You tell us, or do you want me to go first?
I want to go first because I don't want you to steal mine.
Oh,
wait. Favorite what?
Go favorite moment first.
Fuck yes. Okay, so
if you say the one that I'm gonna say, we're gonna have to beat Alex up.
Oh my god! Then it's gonna be. We're gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, because we gotta beat Alex up. Okay, go ahead.
Is this the first and only time that we have the same favorite moment, or okay? Well, that depends on what I say. That depends on what I say, I guess. So my favorite moment, obviously, I feel like it's a given to some extent, is when Rick, Chelsea, and Alex were doing the Estes method.
Okay, we're
and
good.
Alex.
Same one.
Okay, good. Fuck yeah! So obviously, you guys know I love when the crew pick on each other, especially when it comes to like Alex and Dakota. Dakota is a little scaredy bitch, and then Alex is like, "I'm gonna get fucking mad." So
it's kind of funny. I mean, that's rude, but it is.
No, it's funny as fuck, dude. That's why, like, I love it so much. Rick, Chelsea, and Alex were in the jail cell, and they were doing the Estes method, and Alex was under. And Alex, obviously, when you're under Estes, like, you can't hear anything, you can't see anything. And Chelsea came up with the idea to Rick. She's like, there's something I've always wanted to do. Let's fucking dip and leave this bitch. And Rick was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. So Chelsea and Rick left Alex completely alone under Estes, and he had no idea. He ended up hearing a deep voice that kind of scared him, so he ripped the headphones off in his blindfold, and he realized Rick and Chelsea were no longer with him, and he got so pissed, and I started laughing so hard. I was like, this fucking bitch. Like, the fact that he got so mad, and Chelsea and Rick actually joined back up with Dakota and Tanner, and Alex comes busting in, and he's like, what the hell? What the hell? And he was so upset, and he was like, this is like not funny. It's not funny. It's like, oh my god, shut up, bitch. Like, what the hell? I'm just kidding, but also not at the same time.
You know what's funny though is I thought, so back to the last time we reviewed a Project Fair episode, we talked about what if we ever investigate with them. I was like, I swear to God, Mads and I ever get to go and somebody does this shit to us.
I know, dude. I will say I was expecting Dakota to be more mean, and that's going to come in like our honorable mentions portion.
Yeah.
But because I have more to say about that, but I thought Dakota would be worse than he was to Rick, and he wasn't, and I'm surprised.
I mean, Rick did give them a nice chunk of change. Like,
that's
you
true.
Gotta be respectful of Rick, okay? Like,
that's true. That's very true.
I mean, I don't want to.
I
hate to put it that way because I don't mean it the way it sounded, and you know that, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean it that way, but I'm like, shout out Rick for helping us keep Project Fear around. Is all I'm saying. Like,
right. Exactly. What was your favorite moment?
Okay, so mine, it does involve Al, but not the same one you had, thankfully. So I'm like, one of these days we're gonna say the same shit for all of these answers, and it's gonna be weird as shit.
I know.
So my favorite moment was when they were all sitting down in the morgue together doing the spirit box before they went and split. And like Chelsea and Tanner walked down the hall a little bit, came back, and then they shut the spirit box off, and they're all just kind of like processing. And Rick just like lightly touches Alex, and Alex is like, Jesus Christ!
See, that moment,
it was funny.
It was hilarious, and that was my second pick for favorite moment.
Yeah. I was like, that's fucking funny, bro. Like, and Alex was like, you can't touch me in a haunted location like that. And Rick just like slaps his arm, and Alex is like, yeah, do that. Like, that would be any better, Al. If you're looking away and somebody slaps your arm, who cares? Like, you're still gonna freak out.
Exactly. Dude, Alex was such an angry little elf this episode.
When is he not?
That's true. That's true. But for whatever reason, it felt worse.
It was funny. It's funny. It just
I don't know why, but it did.
Sassy Al just makes me laugh.
Yeah, because he's a bitch, dude.
This is why Alex is the one who doesn't listen to us the most often.
Yeah, he would rather not listen to us call him a bitch, an angry little elf, whatever else I said. I don't know. It's just so fun to bully them. It really is. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. They just kind of deserve it. I mean, you gotta agree.
I do 100%. It's just like,
okay, good.
Some of the listeners, like, I'm like, if only you got it, then you would get it. But it's fine. It's not something we can articulate. So
yeah.
Fine. We're fine.
But it's funny. I think those were really good favorite moments in my personal opinion. Just saying.
So what was your evidence then?
Oh, thank God you're going to let me. Oh, thank God. Okay. So this one, I actually do wonder if we might have the same one. So when Rick was in the morgue on his solo, there was movement that was caught on the film right behind him. And they played it back, and you could see very clearly that there was like a figure moving in the background behind him. And I feel as though that's one of the hardest things to capture, at least from what I've seen in like all my years of watching paranormal TV. It's so cool to see that. And that's why it has to be my favorite evidence, because it's so rare. And I don't know, there's just something about seeing like a figure or an apparition, even for just a glimpse of a moment, that is so chilling, because it's like, who was that?
Right.
What is that?
Right.
Like, were they a person on this earth at one point in their life that was just like us? Or, in the sake of, going a little off the rails here, what if they are a person that's still alive in a different timeline and they just caught a glimpse of someone, just going about their normal average day?
Honestly.
So, I don't know. Like, isn't that such a wild thing to think about? Like, what if we've been caught on camera before in an apparition form, and obviously we don't know it?
Parallel universe or something.
Like, isn't that the craziest thing to think about?
For sure.
Every time. It's so crazy. But that has to be my favorite evidence because, I mean, to me, nothing tops that evidence-wise.
I'm glad you brought that one up. Mine is different than yours.
Yes! Okay.
But because the reason I want to talk about this part is because it's thought-provoking, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying in the thought-provoking aspect of it. So, mine was when Chelsea and Rick were leaving Al, and he was under for Estes, right? And then Chelsea's like, oh, I think that we should leave. And she's telling Rick, she's like, I've always wanted to do this. I think we should go. And Alex says, stop, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then they're walking out of the room, and then he said, leave. And then, as Chelsea and Rick were leaving. And then after they're outside the room, he's like, feeling, see you. And then Rick was like, telling Broken that he can come with them. Or she. I guess we don't know if Broken's a boy or a girl. And then Alex was like, when can I? And they were like, right now, come with us right now. So the reason that I said this is thought-provoking because it goes kind of along with what you're saying too. In a couple, there's a couple different ways you could take this. But, some of the paranormal investigators we've talked about some of these topics with them. Some of them are episodes we haven't even released yet. They'll come after this one. So we've talked about spirits could be residual energy or they could be conscious spirits. You know what I mean? So it feels like in this situation, the spirits that Al was listening to were experiencing in real time what Rick and Chelsea were doing.
Right.
And they were interacting in real time with what was going on in that situation.
Right.
So that's complex in and of itself, But then again, if you take it even further and you're talking about what if it's us in a different parallel universe or we're somehow being captured in another realm some way as the spirits ourselves, what if the leave was Chelsea in another dimension saying, let's leave,
Right. And it's so trippy to fucking think about, dude. Because you can just keep going in a spiral of just all the different possibilities. And I think that that's the craziest part. In one of our episodes coming up, we discuss that there's not one singular answer to it all. And there's a purpose for that. And in our human brains, the complexity of what's on the other side is so deep, so intense, so infinite that there's just no singular answer, and there could never be a singular answer. I feel as though every single possibility that we may even slightly consider is real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a person that is religious, that believes in God, believes that there is heaven, but I also believe that there is multiple dimensions and there is a purpose for that.
Right.
And I think that that's a part of heaven to some extent. Just like I said, the Outlander theory, or what I will say is the Outlander theory of just kind of existing in the same timeline at the same time. What if people from the medieval times or the 1700s or whatever, they're living their September 7th, today is September 7th, they're living their September 7th 1530, and
so wild,
they're just going about their time. It's just so complex. I can't even articulate it because what if every 100 years is a different timeline? And right now, even though we were born in a different timeline, we were born in the 1900s, what if even still, it's our 100 years is our timeline and everybody else. It I can't even articulate it, but
so cool,
we're all
though.
existing at the same time. Everybody who's ever lived exists at the same time. Right. Some of them may be dead in our timeline, but we're not alive in theirs. Right. So it's just so crazy. And then you think about the past life thing. Well, that adds a whole other layer of complexity to it. So how the fuck are you supposed to know? You aren't supposed to know. That's the purpose.
Yeah.
You will not know until you die. And even then, who knows? You may not even know
What if-
everything.
Yeah. What if you don't actually die though?
Yeah. What if you're just reborn?
Dimension or a different like universe or like reincarnated, like yada yada yada. You know?
Yeah. It's so complex.
It's so fun to think about.
It really is.
That's the other thing too, is like I've said this before, but it's like if you're going to believe in paranormal and like that means you're interested in something that we don't have the actual answers to, why would you just draw the line at like a few things that you're interested in, you know? Like who's to say? Like why are you like, yeah, I believe in ghosts and Bigfoots, but aliens, no, that's a no-go. Like what for what? Like
right. And like what we were talking about with Riley a couple episodes ago, where over here it seems like on the East Coast where all of those energies and like cryptids and beings, their residual energy and all of that kind of thing, they're all like stuck here. It's like the what would you call it? Like a hairbrush effect where it just like pulls that energy. And so like it'll just stick in some places and not in others. Like you guys don't have boo hags out there in Wyoming.
Nope.
Why is that? In Charleston, that came over with the African slaves and their beliefs from Africa. And it just stuck here and it never went inward. Like I said, the hairbrush effect, where it just stuck.
Yep.
And they're just here. Like it pulled out that energy before it went inward. So like, I don't know. Shit, that got really complex, I'd say.
I dig when stuff like that happens though, like when we just start talking and we're just like, wait, and then this, and then this, and then that, and then it's just like a whole thing, and you just get people thinking about stuff.
Exactly. It's just not as black and white as people think it is. And I mean,
Nothing
at one point,
though, honestly,
it never is. But at one point, I can say that I did think it was just, every bit of communication that came forward was people from who have passed on, and now I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah, it's cool.
So it is cool. It's very cool. Well, honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. This is the portion of the podcast where we talk about mentions that are honorable.
There goes Duchess.
That was perfect. Perfect timing, Dutchie. Okay, do you wanna hit me with one? Hit us with one? Us? There's us. Here's people listening.
Yeah, of course. So in true BDT fashion. Okay, I had to mention this.
BDT again. I thought
we're calling him. Yeah.
Move over, BDT. We got big Rick energy now. Bye.
Facts. Oh, see, Duchess agreed. She's like, fuck BDT. I don't give a shit, nugget. But in true BDT fashion, when Alex and Chelsea heard. Wait. It was Alex and Chelsea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, when they heard that running, when they were going up to the attic to check shit out, BDT comes in and he busts up there like shoulders squared back, arms out, like he was prepared to fucking fight a real person. And that is not the only time he did that. He also did it later on in the episode where Tanner himself and Dak were chilling and Chelsea and Rick came down, of course, after the whole them leaving Alex under Estes thing. Yeah. And Tanner ran towards them because like he saw movement and he saw that they were real people. He heard voices and he was ready to square up again. Like bro was on the defense this episode. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It's like he did it twice.
It's good though to know that like if somebody did come and try to fuck with him, he would be ready. You know, because I do worry about their safety sometimes. I'm like, but BDT's been working out, so he's got this. Yeah. Honestly, between all three guys and probably Rick too, because Rick looked like a big dude. Like, in comparison to knowing just how tall, like in person, the guys are, and Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Chelsea's really tall too. But seeing Rick being very close in height, like. I would be scared if I were someone breaking in and seeing four big ass dudes, just like ready to fucking pounce on my ass. You know what I'm saying? So but like if you broke in and they came at you, you would be like, never mind.
Exactly. But BDT was really on it this time. Like he was literally being daddy, you know, and not in a sexual way. Don't fucking laugh at me.
That's the way you said it.
He was being daddy. He's like, let me protect my children.
Daddy.
He was literally being daddy. He was like, I'm going to protect my children. And so he came up and he was ready to fucking throw hands. And you know what? That's a commendable trait. Congratulations, Tanner, on being yourself. But we also still fucking hate you. Anyway, go ahead. What is your...
We still
Do you have an honorable mention?
I have a few. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
This one is just funny. Back to picking on Al. So when
this
they were
fucking bitch.
I know. It was the attic that they were trying to go in that they kept getting run at, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so
consistently.
So Chelsea and Al kept oh my gosh, short circuiting again. Kept trying to go into the attic, and then they kept hearing running, and then they were like standing there freaking out for a minute, and Alex zoomed in on the camera and scared himself accidentally. Do you remember that? Did you?
No.
That part? Yeah, he was like, ah! And Chelsea's like, what? And he's like, I just scared myself. I accidentally zoomed in.
Yeah, it would scare me too.
So but like, it's just, I don't know what it is. It's like the simple things because they're just panicking, and he just accidentally hit the button and like freaked himself out. It just gets me every time. It's just funny to me. I'm like,
it is.
That's
it's
funny.
So funny. So I just wanted to say, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, when what are they called? The Paranormal Files with Colin.
Oh yeah.
When he came on, didn't he also use the Spirit Talker app that Rick was using? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm just going to come out here and say it, like, now that I've seen it in action twice. I don't remember what my original thoughts were on it. I know that I'm always skeptical with stuff like that. However, in this episode particularly, I felt like it was hella accurate.
Well, Rick put his phone on airplane mode too.
Right, that's right. And a part of me just wonders if, like, I don't know, like, the first time that I saw it when Colin used it at Penhurst, I was like, yeah, you know, I guess. But like this time at Fairfield, I definitely think that it was way more consistent, way more accurate, way more on point, and the stuff that was being said made so much more sense contextually to the questions that Rick was asking. And it just kind of like blew me away because I'm just like, okay, so this isn't just a random fucking app. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this could actually be a legitimate thing.
Right.
After watching this episode, it feels.
Right. Yeah, it definitely felt more, it felt pretty accurate, as you were saying, so.
Yeah. So I did want to say that. I thought it was pretty cool to see that in action. Yeah. The responses that he was getting.
For sure. And I like that. I don't know what it is about Rick putting it on airplane mode, but for me, it's just like, the only reason I don't trust apps on phones is because, you get on Facebook and then you get ads for shit you've been recently talking about. And it's like, how very strange of you, Apple. So that's kind of, I just don't, it's not like, do you get what I'm saying? I just don't trust phones.
I definitely understand it. That is why I was hesitant to begin with.
Yeah.
Because I know how these, like, our smartphones can take what we're saying. And clearly they record what we're saying because of the ads. And, like, I'm pretty sure there has been something that was released a couple years ago or a couple months ago. I don't know. Everything seems to blend together after a while, but where it seemed as though they released like the genuine proof that yes, okay, like we do use your voice to target ads for your consumption. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, I don't know. That's what made me hesitant to begin with. I think that's a valid point.
Right. So that's why I was like, I don't know. He put it on airplane mode, so I mean, obviously, if it's technology and they really want to hack your phone and listen to you, they probably still could, but I feel like it just helps to make it feel better. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Gotta agree with you there for sure.
There's one more thing I did want to say for sure about this episode, but we should probably wrap this episode up to move on to the next one since we're doing double duty here.
Agreed.
Sick. Okay, so back to earlier when we were saying Rick is like he's like a natural and he's super respectful and all that stuff. Like Rick, like, you know, he goes on a solo and he just like is asking questions left and right. And even when they were up, him and Chelsea and Alex were doing the Estes, and like Rick asked a bunch of questions, and it's like he just knows what to ask. And I'm like, how do you do that? Because if I was there, I would just be like, "Hi, Ghosties, it's me, Berg. I'm invading your space." You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, how do you, like, maybe when you're in it, it's different and things just come to you. But I'm like, such a natural, Rick. Such a natural dude. Like, kudos to you.
Yeah, he really was just like taking everything like a champ. You would have never guessed that he didn't do that for a living.
Right. Well, and then the part 2 where they first found the morgue and he's like, "This is the morgue," and they're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Well, it's Project Fear, right?" And he just walks in. I was like, damn, bro, like, look at you go.
I know. Dude, he was serious about it, and that's something that like I can appreciate. Like, dude, I can tell that he came from a place of genuine love and support for them.
Yeah.
And that within itself is just like so commendable, and I really think he did great.
He did for sure.
Definitely. He did really, really well. So he made it enjoyable to watch for sure.
Yeah, he did. I like it's fun, it's interesting. You kind of touched on this earlier too, but it was with these episodes, it's cool to see a different dynamic in a sense.
Yeah.
Just adding more people in. Do you have anything else you want to add to this episode's honorable mentions?
The last thing I wanted to say is, and the only reason why I want to say this is because I had said that I was going to touch on it earlier, is the whole Dak thing and him being not mean to Rick.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Rick had made a comment at the very end of the episode. He was like, "I was afraid you guys were going to be dicks and put me in a corner by myself the entire time." And Dakota was like, "No, no." But I'm sitting here thinking to myself, the note that I made was, honestly, Rick, it's because you're cool as fuck. I don't trust them in regards to me and Berkey.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't think that that's what would happen. And
we bully them all the time, Mads. They're definitely gonna get revenge on us if we ever get to go. Like,
yeah. I'm just preparing for that in the back of my head. Obviously, I do want to say, guys, like, there's no plans for this to happen. There's probably not even a chance that it would happen, but it's fun to like think about the fact of what they could do to us if we did go. And that's why we bring it up like every time we talk about it, because it's so fucking funny to think, like, I just know for a fact Dakota would do what he did in my nightmare that one time and be like, "Hey, look at this jail cell. Isn't it so cool? And let's go in here and like look at it." Yep. That's exactly what he would do. "Hey, can I hold your flashlight real quick?" "Yeah, thanks, Dag, so I can look a little bit better." Lock the door, flashlight gone, and then he'll dip.
Yeah.
I would probably cry, and then,
I would just be screaming. I'd be like, "Dakota, you fucking bitch! Get me out of here right now!"
That would make for excellent TV, so just saying.
Screaming the whole time. They just don't even use the fucking footage because you just ruined it, because you're just screaming like they're trying to
Dakota, you fucking bitch!
Yeah, they're just trying to film a couple rooms later and you're just ruining all their audio. You're just screaming from a jail cell. You're just like, "You fucking douchebags!" Like, screaming.
It's like, what's funny is we've actually gone on an investigation with them and they had to scrap the whole episode because me and Berkey were cussing at them the entire time.
Plot twist. Yeah, we just ruined it. You'll never see it. Bye. Okay, there's one last thing I have to bring up, because how can we not? But the bucket and the rod moving on their own.
Oh, yeah, that was wild, dude.
Like, how? What? When? Where? Why? How? That's all I gotta say.
It's scary. It's scary when things are physically moved.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so Madison Seminary. Just kidding.
Moving on!
So the Madison Seminary episode, they had Mike, Sonia, and Bianca with them.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, so I think we should just dive right into this one. Do you want to go first again, or do you want me to?
I'll go first again. That's fine.
Okay, sick. Yeah. So tell me your favorite moment because I gotta search through my notes.
Okay, so my favorite moment is actually a series of moments. And
Okay.
the reason for this being is because for majority of this episode, similarly to like what we were just discussing with Fairfield, and
Is this gonna be the one where we have the same fucking thing?
it might be.
Keep going,
It might
keep going.
actually be. Are we in this moment? Okay.
If
But,
it follows the trend of everything else we've talked about for the last 50 minutes, just keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to say right here and right now, like, after we've been discussing everything with the evidence at Fairfield and the fact that at Madison that they received similar evidence where it was like consistent and like the questions that they were asking were being answered almost immediately, that it was like mind-blowing. So my favorite moment throughout the episode was every time Alex would speak.
This is mine too, so we'll just talk about it together.
Sick. Okay, fine. Okay, here we go. You're viewing it for the first time on Fear Babes. We have the same favorite moment.
Yep.
So every time Al asks a question or speaks in general, when they are in Sarah's room doing the spirit box session, Sarah, or the entity that is posing as Sarah, does not fucking like Alex.
Nope.
So the very first time this happens is Alex asks the question. Let me see. Hold on. Wait. Here we go again. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Yeah. Dakota was actually under Estes.
Yep.
And Alex asked the question. He asked some sort of question, and the first response that comes through is, "Don't ask him."
He was saying, "Sarah, we really do not believe," and it cut him off.
Yeah, and that's right. Don't ask him.
Yep.
Then Alex tries to ask another question after that, and idiot.
We still don't think you're a girl. Oh, the idiot one. So yeah, so he said, "We still don't think you're a girl," and it said, "Go away."
Yeah, and then it said idiot,
Yep.
and then attention. Don't do that. This creep.
Yeah, the creep part. That was the part where I was like, my favorite moment is when the spirit called Alex a creep. Like,
that was so fucking funny.
Fucking Alex, in true Alex fashion, is like, "Sarah, I really don't like you." I'm like, Al, maybe let's not provoke the ghost that hates you. I don't know.
Right?
Just a thought.
And then Chelsea, she's like, "Dude, Alex."
Yep.
It was so funny. But then Alex kept talking, and he goes, "It called me idiot." And then
like he was heard about it.
It said, "Are you?"
I know.
Like, whatever was on that other side, obviously, like they were saying this in the episode, but whatever was on the other side of that Estes,
yeah,
it did not like Alex questioning what it was.
No, it didn't at all. And so my thought process is like, do you think that Alex so let's say, because there was question on if it really was Sarah or if that was something else, right?
Mm.
Let's say, just for funsies, if it was Sarah, what if Alex's demeanor for whatever reason reminds her of the superintendent and that's why she doesn't like him?
You know, I didn't think about that, but that could definitely be a thing. Because the way Alex was coming off, and it wasn't intentional. I can just tell you, I don't think it was until later on after Sarah
he
was
had
coming
been
through.
hazed like 5 times in a row.
Right. Where it was coming off as like cocky because he was challenging her. So it was just kind of like she was in true like feminist fashion, just kind of like, fuck you. You're an idiot. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also keep in mind too, she, you know, when later on, after they did all that Estes sessions between Dakota and Bianca going under, that in the gear room, Chelsea ended up finding out, like, through this book that had history of Madison Seminary, that everything that was discussed up there was accurate
Had some relevance.
to, yeah, like
Yeah.
it was historically accurate to the real Sarah Frisbee.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It makes you wonder, man.
Well, and then, but when they go back up there afterwards and they just have, I think Dak had the PS device. And then it's even then, Alex is trying to say something. Like he was like, I think you're something else. And it just goes attitude.
Yes,
Like,
that's
it
right.
Still had a problem with Alex.
Attitude. Yeah. So something definitely, it did not like Alex.
Alex and Sarah do not be vibing. Like,
but I do think that you may be onto something with the whole, like if it was Sarah, that it could have been someone, or Alex could have reminded her of the superintendent.
Right.
Like that would make a lot of sense for the responses that were given.
Right.
Just saying.
Especially if she did like
think
report
about
the
it.
superintendent, you know, like as like the article said and stuff like that, and she just like really doesn't like him. If Alex has like something about him that reminds her of the superintendent, that she's just like, fuck you, bro, like go away.
She was not having it. I mean, think about it though, which also begs the question, like, can you get fucking PTSD from the other side? Like when you're on the other side and you're just sitting there like, no, I don't like this. I gotta be sassy back. Like, you know what I mean? Like in that true, like,
good point.
Ew, he reminds me too much of the superintendent. Like, why is this happening? Why is he doing this? Why is he being so mean to me? Why?
Right.
Why? You know what I mean? Like, what if that's
right?
You know, she was kind of defending herself to an extent.
Exactly. But then if you take it the other way, like let's say it's not Sarah, it's something mimicking or trying to like manipulate them like they were saying, and then it doesn't like Al because Al is trying to like get to the bottom of the real truth, and like he's getting too close to it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So then that's another way that it would be like giving the responses that it's giving.
Right. And see, the other thing too that I also thought about during the episode is that playing off that, if the entity truly isn't Sarah and it's something else, and it didn't like the fact that Alex was challenging it, is that like it would have known all that history. It would have, because these are, when it's something else that's not human, it's supposed to be very intelligent, and it's supposed to manipulate you, and it's supposed to be like, you know, the master manipulator of all manipulators, you know? So, like, of course it would know all that stuff. Of course it would know that she had a heart attack, or that she was mentally, considered clinically mentally insane.
Well, and then, Mads, sorry, but like you're just making my mind go all sorts of directions now. So let's say there's...
I know, man.
Something evil, right? And the evil things... I'm not going to say the D word because, you know, but evil things are supposed to be oppressive, right? So what if Sarah is there, but this thing is oppressing her and then just like stealing her story? Like Chelsea said, if it is evil, maybe it's stealing her story. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if that too?
Could be possible, because when they were using, I believe it was, I think it was Bianca, where when she was under and he's coming came through.
Yeah.
It just makes you wonder, like, obviously she's still scared of the superintendent, if that is like her. So it's just kind of like one of those things where when you've heard of like instances of possession, where there are moments where you will encounter the entity, and then there are moments where you will see the humanity of the person. And it kind of makes you wonder if like maybe he is overbearing her on the other side, which if that's the case, that is so incredibly like heartbreaking. Right. I would like to believe that that's not the case, but you just never know.
Exactly.
Because it's just one of those things where you just don't know. But it just went from like all of these things like idiot to Alex, and then all of a sudden he's coming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a drastic change.
Right. For sure.
Of like conversation, if that makes sense. At least how I interpreted it. Because like I don't know. But then Mike also made the point that she was mentally ill, which could also be the case. Who knows, man?
Yeah,
Like,
so many
who
scenarios
knows?
could happen there.
And that's the thing too with like entities that are dark, is that they want you to question. They don't want you to know what you're talking to sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's scary within itself.
It's wild. It's fucking wild, dude.
Hard fucking pass on that one.
Like, can we just not maybe? Bye.
Exactly. So I do want to know, since we both have the same favorite moment, what is your favorite evidence for this episode?
Yes, I got it locked and loaded. I'm just trying to find my notes because I want to make sure I get the information right. Okay, so when Mike was solo in the mirror room,
Yes.
and he had the Ovilus and the REM pod with him, and he was like trying to talk, and you know, he asked how many spirits were around, and then there was like nothing for a while because they did that like thing where they fast forward when nothing's happening, and then it said send, and then Carol, and then Mike said that Carol is his father-in-law's name, and he's like, weird coincidence, kind of is the vibe that he was giving, you know, and then
Yeah.
it said Veronica, and he's like, well, that's my sister-in-law's name. And then he was talking about like how weird it was that he got both of those names back to back, and the Ovilus was like reason and video, and then he was mentioning that they lost Veronica due to brain cancer, and he was like, do you like, he said something along the lines of, do you have a message for me or something like that? And it said cleansing and then loving, and then he's like, I'm afraid to say I love you very much, and then the REM pod starts going off like right after he said that, and I was just like, chills, bro. Fucking chills for this guy, because if, like, I don't know, like, if you believe in the afterlife and you believe our loved ones are still watching us from beyond, and like my mom, for example, she always says she has a team on the other side, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean they're always with her, but they do come to her occasionally. So I'm like, what if Mike, like, I don't know what he does in his free time, right? But like, obviously for whatever reason, he needed some sort of message here.
Right.
Something was happening. Like, I feel like that's just too weird of a coincidence for that to not be something for him. And like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm trying to be very careful because I don't want to project what happened, like his experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, onto anybody or anything. But I just like, that was so intriguing to me.
Well, see, the thing is with the Satan's or Devil's, I keep wanting to call it Satan, Devil's toy box, with it being a literal portal because of the mirrors facing each other, that welcomes all energy. And it's not a surprise to me that he was able to communicate with people who are probably with him consistently.
Yeah.
And all the time. And they were like, we just need a chance to come through somehow, so let's do it now.
Yeah, they're using the opportunity. Yeah, that's where I was going.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, it's insane that it happened at Madison Seminary, but it's also just like so heartwarming and comforting. If everything truly was, like he said, it resonates. If everything truly was, and everyone was who they said that they were,
right,
then it's a good, like, you know, it can be a very comforting thing to some extent.
Yeah. Well, then when he links back up with Bianca, like, obviously they're together, and she's like, oh my god, you know, she's like, that's like Veronica was my sister-in-law that passed away and stuff like that, and she was just as like mind-boggled by it as he was.
Yeah, that it's just crazy, and the fact
and
that it
Carol's
resonated
her
with
dad.
both of them.
Yeah.
It was so, it's mind-blowing. But it seemed as though, from like my perspective, that these members just really wanted an opportunity, and they finally had it. So they used it to communicate, because in that room, it was so different from like the rest of Madison Seminary, where everything was more of like, at least the entities that were there seemed as though they were connected to the place. Whereas when you're in like a portal, that welcomes anything and everything.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You know, so it's a little bit different. So that doesn't surprise me. And it's also just like, he got to leave with him and Bianca both got to leave with a really cool experience.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
But
yeah, what was your favorite evidence?
my favorite evidence was when Tanner, Dakota, Mike, and Bianca were in the asylum.
Mhm.
And Bianca asked the question, did you have the baby or was it terminated? And I'm assuming those of you who are listening also watched this episode and they heard the history of Madison Seminary. But if you did not and you're just listening to us because we're awesome, Madison Seminary it had a really dark history of forcing women that were there to have abortions if they were pregnant.
Yep.
And unconsensually. And so anyway, sorry, that's like really dark, and it's, you can only imagine the pain and the residual energy in that building. But when she asked that question, did you have the baby or was it terminated? When Dakota was listening back to the voice recorder just to see if they captured anything, the words, "It didn't happen, it was terminated," came through on the recorder. And that was so chilling, but it added so much of like a realism to it. And it was just so, I don't know what else to say aside from chilling.
Yeah.
Because
sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it's so sad. Like I can only imagine what it would be like to be pregnant and then like having someone remove that baby from me. Like, what if they wanted that baby? Like, that's awful, dude.
Heartbreaking.
That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the worst things that you have ever heard. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm speechless because I just genuinely cannot imagine the heartbreak that follows from that. The depression that someone has to go through after that happens. Like, you just go into like this pit of just like shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that was my favorite evidence, because not that it was like a great piece of like evidence, but because it just is so heart-wrenching.
It just really hits your it pulls those heartstrings.
It pulls my humanity forward.
That too. It sucks.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, honorable mentions real fast.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, we're running out of time. Oh no.
Time goes so fast.
So, let's start with the near the beginning of the episode. Oh my gosh! Near the beginning of the episode. First time they went into Sarah's room, and Sonya's ear got touched, and then a little bit later, Alice said that he wonders if something's not gonna try to like attach itself to Sonya, and then later on in the episode, Sonya starts feeling nauseous every time when she's in Sarah's room when they're doing the Estes, when it was Dak and Bianca under. She said she felt nauseous at one point, and then the third or fourth time they go back to Sarah's room after all that, she's in there again, and she stood up and she said, like, Dakota's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm just feel really uncomfortable."
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
I'm curious because she was the only one that was like affected in that way. I always wonder, and we may not ever know, but I always wonder when people get affected if they are a like an empath of some sort,
right?
To where it's like with such a dark place, like what we were just talking about, like you're feeling all these energies. Something is clearly interacting with her, taunting her to some extent, and it's like, what do they know about her? Like, is honestly, there? It just makes me wonder. Of course, I'm not like making assumptions. If she's not, she's not. But I just feel like there's always I feel like there's always a reason.
Yeah.
Right. Like with Alex, I like to think that Alex is an empath.
Yeah. Well, and
I
then
just need him to confirm it.
Dear Alex, please respond to this. Thank you. But also too, like, earlier when we were saying maybe Al like reminds Sarah or that being of the superintendent or something. Like, what if Sonia reminds them, like, what, I mean, okay, let's say it is Sarah, and let's say Sarah was the one that touched her ear and all that. Maybe Sonia reminds Sarah of, like, Sarah's mom or somebody like that,
Yeah.
Like, same type of thing.
Could definitely be the case.
And that's why it's, like, kind of focused on her more so than, doesn't like Alex, but likes Sonia for some reason. Like, what's going on here?
I know, that does make you wonder.
Mhm.
Such a good point there, for sure. But also, I do want to say, Sonia, because I wrote this in my notes, she had the realest reactions with Chelsea and Alex when they went.
Yeah.
Like, she is so entertaining in that aspect, because I was like, dude, like, that's such a real reaction.
Realistic,
Like,
yeah.
not everyone is going to go in there being hella brave. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Like, when they were going to go up the
sometimes-
stairs, and she's like, I don't know if I want to go up there.
Yeah. And she was just like, anytime, like, they heard something, she's like, no, I can't, no. And I thought that it was so funny. I mean, is not that her being scared. I mean, maybe it is a little funny, but like, it's just more the fact that it's such a real, raw, like, thing to just react organically rather than just kind of be like, oh, okay, I'm brave. I am a brave soul. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, sometimes you just can't be brave, and that's totally fine.
No, I feel like Sonia is like 100% probably more along the lines of what I would actually be like.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, when we talked to Chelsea and I told her my story of my little alien ghosty friend, and she was like, I love how you're just, like, acknowledging it. I'm like, that's a good point. I wonder if I would do that in a haunted location. But I don't think I would. I think I'd be scared.
Yeah. It's I like to think, and like Chelsea said, when you're in the comfort of your own home,
yeah,
you think that you are so brave and you can do anything.
Yep.
But what if you can't?
When you're actually in it, though, when you're in the thick of it, different story.
What if you fucking can't? And what if you actually piss yourself? It's okay. Like, it's fine to not be able to be brave and do it all the time. Like,
you're human.
As a human, like, we have to be brave 24/7, and sometimes maybe you don't want to be when you go into a very scary place, and that's
totally fine. Yep,
totally get it.
Exactly.
Let me see here. I was trying to think of I was reading through my notes so we could try to wrap this up because we're running out of time. When I believe it was Alex opened that door, it was at the very beginning of the episode when they were upstairs, and everyone started getting so scared. They're like, what is that?
Yeah, it was so funny. I was like, sick. That would be me.
I loved it. I love that so much.
Another good one was when they were separated and they were coming back together, and Alex heard was it Bianca and Mike and Tanner and Dak were coming down the stairs, and Alex heard them, and so he screamed like up the staircase. And they were all like, Alex, not cool.
That was so funny. He's such a dick, dude.
I know.
I would have done that too. Dude, this is giving me ideas. Okay, anyway. So
I have plenty, don't you worry.
I know. I would love to do that. I didn't really... Let's see. I did make a random note saying not the crew getting sponsored by my job's security system.
Simply Safe.
Yeah, my job literally uses Simply Safe, so that was funny. At the beginning, I will say, at the very, very beginning of the episode, when Dak was the leader and like Mike, Sonia, and Bianca were following behind him, they looked like little children, and he was like the leader. Like they were in like Girl Scouts or something.
They're just following him.
And I was like,
here we go.
Dak being the leader, would not trust that.
Right.
But to each his own.
That reminded me. Let me see if I can find it in my notes. Hold on. Was this the episode, or is it like one of those things where they're both getting... No, it was in this episode when they went to split up, and Dakota's like, do we have walkies? And Alex is like, I gave you one. And Dak's like, oh, I have it. And then Chelsea was like, you guys got a great leader over there.
Yeah, literally.
This episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I was like,
yeah.
Are they the two of, like you said, the two are... Yeah, it had to be this one because in the Fairfield one is when they did the walkie scare and Alex did that creepy ass laugh.
Yeah, that's right. Over the yeah. That's funny.
I feel like there's not a lot of one-off honorable mentions in this one because a lot of it was just like the Estes method and everything, you know?
Right. I have to agree with you.
Strong Estes session this time. That it was just, yeah.
Well, like Chelsea said, it was definitely one of their best Estes sessions ever. And I've got to say that overall, it's probably one of my favorite moments ever. Like, it's definitely within my top 3 of Project Fear and Destination Fear history.
Yeah.
So it was just like such intelligent responses. They were so consistent. They were so quick. They were at least quick in regards to, you know, paranormal communication.
Right.
And it was just so insane. But overall, like, it was just such a good episode for that reason. It just, it was a really good one. I did like that episode a lot. Both really good episodes, I thought.
For sure. Sorry, I was yeah, no, and like you said, the Estes method for Madison, I was just like, there was a lot going on there, and it was super cool, but also really intriguing, and I was like, what?
I know. It was just, I don't know, like, Fairfield and Madison, they're definitely 2 locations that are on my list.
For sure.
For the reason that people who go to both of these, like, people who have gone to these paranormal locations, like, we've talked to all these paranormal investigators this season, you know, these 2 locations are at least on their list. And it's because of the consistency, I feel, of the experiences that people have, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just kind of like I don't know. They're just 2 really interesting locations with very deep history, and yeah, Duchess is coming in.
Hi, Dutchie.
Say hi.
Hi, baby.
Hi. Say hi. Hello, Dutchie. Did you hear the snoots?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But yeah, these locations, oh my gosh, did you hear that? These interesting are very location. These locations are very interesting. And I just, I really like the dynamic of them bringing fans on to investigate with them. Like, yeah. Obviously all the time is not doable, but it's fun to change it up once in a while. And I think it's cool to witness it. And it's cool to see how well, like, people can just get thrown into it and just jive well enough for it to work, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people are, like, maybe not these guys, these 4 that went with them, but, you know, I would, to be honest, if we got if we won the contest, for example, I would just be scared shitless. I'd be like, I don't want to be on camera. What if I do bad? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Like, there's always this element of, oh my God, I'm being filmed. Like, how is this going to come across? Like, I hope I'm saying the right things. I hope I'm asking the right questions. Like, I feel like it's like between both episodes, I feel like the questions that were asked by these fans were actually, like, really good questions in regards to, like, especially since they elicited some sort of response, maybe not every time, but I'm like, would I even be able to ask, like, a good question?
Yep. That's exactly what I think about.
You know, like, would I be able to do that? Would I be a good on-camera personality? Like, would I be able? Exactly. I don't know.
So shout out to Mike and Sonia and Bianca and Rick for just fucking doing the damn thing, and you guys did it so well. Like, those were
fucking well.
It was enjoyable to witness.
It was very enjoyable. 2 really great episodes.
So I guess we gotta wrap her up. We got other shit to do. Oh, yeah. I gotta go. We have 5 minutes. Oh no!
oh no! I don't know why, but, like,
we turned into Pee Wee Herman.
Actually, but I was also about to say I'm fantasizing about KFC chicken and gravy. Don't know why. Not a favorite thing of mine, but it just randomly.
why I said, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, brother," because I can't even eat that stuff. So
I know. It makes me so sad, dude. Like,
no, I miss
it
Chinese
just,
food.
it's
Like
so
a lot.
depressing. I know. Like, I wish you could have
Yeah,
sushi because I feel like you would really enjoy it.
I know.
We'll just have to
If
make
I
our
make
own.
it, yeah, if I make it myself, I probably could, but because I want stuff with like crab, and like every time they make sushi, they use fake crabs. I can't do that, so I have to get real crabs. So, anyways, this whole thing. So,
Imitation crab is not my favorite thing, but yeah, they use a lot of imitation crab
yeah,
in
no,
sushi.
so no go for me. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on all platforms. Anything else we want to say before we end this shindig?
I don't think so. I just want to say thank you all for joining us. If this is your first time listening to us, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Also, hope you stick around.
Yeah, please. I hope you do. We always are down for having new friends. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Bye, beams.
Bye, babes. See you later, bitch.